Hey guys, it's the Nerdy Movie Guy, and I don't know about you guys, but being Halloween month, I've been watching a lot of horror movies, and I'm here to review Loki episode 4 today. But Marvel has to be doing something right when Miss Minutes is more creepy than the horror movie villains I've been seeing. I don't know who's writing her story, but this was just they took her creepy elements to a new level in this episode, and I don't know, she's climbing the ranks of some of the big bads for Marvel. So, all right, so let's dive into Loki episode 4. There's a lot to be said about this episode. I think it continues with the show's theme of building intensity. I feel like there will be a pretty big climax at the end of the season, and each and every episode keeps building the character development over and over again with most of its characters. I don't feel like there's a character that's been left out. If there's one character that I guess really isn't getting character development, it's Casey. He's kind of just the guy in the chair for the season. Even though OB has been taking over the technical role of the TVA know-how with this machinery, Casey's been there as well, but I guess he's the only one not really getting character development. But regardless, Loki and Sylvie and Mobius and Renslayer, Miss Minutes and Victor Timely, they're all getting story. And it was really cool to see. Now, this episode, we finally see Renslayer gets back to the TVA. And we didn't really know what to expect. I didn't know what to expect. But I didn't expect her to go on a murder spree instantly. And it was crazy. And then this scene, when you're watching the scene, she's killing all these people. And she's crushing them in this awkward box thing. We don't know what to call it. It's just this machine. And Miss Minutes is just sitting there. And it's creepy. She's just thoroughly enjoying watching these people be crushed to death. It's a little sadistic. It's creepy. It's definitely eerie. And I'm gonna be handing candy out to kids on Halloween. And I don't want to see any Miss Minutes out there. I'm just gonna walk right back inside. This episode, he's building on their story because we get to see Loki and Sylvie kind of argue the merits and the worth of the TVA. And what made this scene interesting is they both have really great points. Sylvie has pointed out with what Agent Docs did and what Victor Timely could do, what Renslayer has done. She's pointed out all of the faults in the TVA and why it should just be destroyed. And I feel like a lot of fans almost agree with her. It's just as messy as complex. You root for Loki and Mobius, but when you argue the merits of the TVA, you almost say, yeah, just destroy it. But then Loki points out people like Hunter B-15 and Mobius. There are some real heroes in the TVA, people who have helped save a lot of lives, whole timelines. And this is a really interesting scene. I like this part of the episode. And with Victor Timely, this episode kind of tugged you back and forth, not knowing where it was going to go. He doesn't feel like he wants to be there, but he kind of trusts the characters. But then Renslayer gets to him, but then he goes back with Loki, but then he wants to volunteer and then dies? I don't know what's going on. I don't know how they're going to explain this. And this episode keeps the Marvel trend of entertaining, very exciting episode 4s. A lot of Marvel TV shows, episode 4 was nearly their best one. It could be argued for what if. WandaVision gave us a lot of information in episode 4. Falcon and Winter Soldier had an exciting episode 4. All of them did, really, or at least most of them. And I think this keeps the trend. This was a very exciting episode. It was building the character development for everyone involved, and this episode left us with more of a cliffhanger than most of the movies have had in a long time, especially the TV shows. This was one heck of a cliffhanger. And I don't know where they're going to go from here. I don't know how anyone's going to survive the end of this episode. But knowing, we're going to have our main heroes return. We know Loki and Sylvie and Mobius will, more than likely survive. Probably Obi, B-15, and Casey too. But now it makes us wonder, will Victor Timely be out there somewhere? Or is this the end of Victor Timely? So we don't know what's going on. And what's interesting to me is in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, we see a Mortis at the end, in the end credit scene, which, to my understanding, is supposed to be Victor Timely in the future. But if Victor Timely dies now, does this kind of reverse what happens in the Quantumania end credit scene? I don't know if this season 2 of Loki is going to change the entirety of the Conqueror's story in the MCU. But we don't know what's going on yet. I'm sure there'll probably be another, Kang variant in this TV show later on in the season. I don't know. And that's the whole point of why I love this series, is it is building the suspense, it's building the mystery. You never know what's going to happen. There's cameos, there's surprises, there's plot twists left and right, and it's just, I don't know. I'm really, really enjoying this season, and I would argue that Loki is probably the best Marvel TV series, and it is better, in my opinion, than most of the Marvel movies. I'm really thoroughly enjoying just every bit of this season, so I don't know where it's going to go from here. This was one heck of a cliffhanger. It definitely has me hyped for episode 5, and I cannot wait to see where the story goes and what happens to these characters. So thank you guys so much for watching.